seems like every time I talk to you, there is another state added, or another state or two added to the list. But you know what? Let's start at the base level, because some of my audience might not be familiar with Convention of States Action. Tell everybody what it's all about.
Sure. Well, I know all of your listeners are frustrated by the size and scope of the federal government, and I certainly have been, and it keeps growing every year. In fact, it's gotten bigger under every administration with the exception of Calvin Coolidge. That's every administration, literally going all the way back to Washington. And so the question is, what do we do about it? And one of the things that I think as citizens we try to do about it, and we always should, is elect people who share our values. And we've done that. I've been involved in politics since 2009, the Tea Party movement. We elected a whole bunch of people, and government continued to get bigger. And so from my perspective, I was trying to figure out, well, what do we do if we keep electing good people and government keeps getting bigger? And the answer is found in Article 5 of the United States Constitution. That's where we have the power to propose amendments. And normally Congress does this. There are two ways. All 27 of our amendments have come through Congress. But of course, Congress is never going to propose amendments to shrink the government or limit its own power or put term limits on itself or a balanced budget. And so there's a second way. And that second way is the second clause. And it says when 2/3 of states want to gather for a convention, they propose the reasons they want to get together for a convention. And when 2/3 or 34 states agree on that, we have that convention and we propose amendments. So that's what we're doing. It takes 34 states to call a convention. Right now, 19 states have done it. So we're well more than halfway. And the goal is to come together in convention and propose amendments for term limits, not just on Congress, but on all federal officials. That would be staffers, bureaucrats, judiciary. Second is anything that would impose fiscal restraints on the federal government, like a balanced budget amendment, tax caps or spending caps. And third is anything that would impose structure or jurisdiction restraints on the federal government. That's things like saying, no, you can't be involved in education or energy or healthcare, things they were never meant to be involved in. So that's what the movement's all about.
I love it. And congratulations, by the way, to those 19 states we already have. There are some states where this is kind of moving through the pipeline, but I want to encourage my audience to call their state reps and to really just kind of push this across the finish line.
Really super focused on in the coming legislative session would be North Carolina, South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Ohio, Iowa, maybe Pennsylvania, depending on what happens in their legislature here soon. Minnesota, definitely. I don't know what's going to happen with the balance in that legislature, but I think it's potentially in place. So those are probably the places I would focus on right now.
Does it? I mean, I know President Trump supports this as a general theme as far as removing size, scope, and corruption from the federal government. But do you need the president's support? Does it help?
We don't need it, but of course, I think it would help. I mean, Nobody has a bigger bully pulpit in the world, literally, but certainly in the United States than Donald Trump. And so his support would be helpful. I believe we're ultimately going to get it. And the reason that I say that is nothing that I planned. But if you look at the incoming administration and the people inside the administration who've already expressed public support for Convention of States, it's pretty astounding. I'm super excited about 2025. J.D. Vance is a supporter. Vivek Ramaswamy is already a supporter. Mike Huckabee, who's going to be our ambassador to Israel, already a supporter. If you look at the Secretary of Agriculture, hopefully incoming is Brooke Rollins, currently the president of AFPI, America First Policy Institute. She's one of our longest time supporters. So all kinds of people coming in are longtime supporters. Our new press secretary, longtime supporter. Also, Pete Hegseth is one of my oldest friends and longtime supporter of Convention of States. So we've got all these people coming into the administration surrounding the president that are open and out supporters of Convention of States. So I expect, in fact, I know that the president and J.D. Vance have been talking about it. So I expect that we will see his open support sometime during the coming year.